This we have been clearing issues, and we have made ourselves clear in different fora, but it kept recording here and there. It kept recording. Actually, nobody among the two of us stated anything about age for WAEC, NECO, NECO, National Business and Technical Education Examination Board examination that has to do with the age. That was not mentioned. But people just imply from statement to say that this is what it means. All we have been mentioning is about age of entry or admission into university. Please, we have made this clear. It's about the age of entry into university. And this is when you look at our national policy on education that says you have 0 to 5 years or the 1 year of primary school before you enter into a primary school. That's making it 6 years before you enter into primary school. And from primary school, you remain there for the next 6 years, making it 12 years, and then you move to your basic education for another 3 years, and then you go to your secondary school education for another 3 years, making it 18 years. That's what the policy says. And if you look at this thing, it's also indirectly or directly related to the theme of this year, multilingual. If you look at it, the national policy says in the pre-nursery up to primary 3, learners should be taught in the language of the immediate environment, or the mother tongue. This is to facilitate learning at that level, because you can easily comprehend what is taught and what people generally communicate in the society. Yes, and they say learning of the environment. You may be a Hausa in an Igbo community, so you cannot insist that your child must be taught in Hausa, because the community there speaks Igbo language. If you are Yoruba and you are staying in Hausa land, that will also add this. What is the advantage? Promoting peace and harmony. You see, language can be very helpful, and it can be also used to harm you. For example, if you go to any country and you find somebody who speaks to you in his own language, which in your own mother tongue, you will really be more comfortable with him than any other person that will speak another language. Now, the outcome depends what is the mindset of the person you are meeting. If he is a wicked person, he will use your trust to do otherwise. If it's somebody who is humane, he can also use to assist you. So that's language promote peace. And I don't know where we drain. Otherwise, language has been a source of peaceful coexistence in Nigeria. You'll agree with me that average Yoruba man, when he sees a Bogobiri, he sees his younger brother Bogobiri, they will joke. They will crack jokes. I think Yorubas here will knows that. In fact, a Bogobiri can put his hand in a Yoruba's man distance and pick money and say, look, I'm taking it away. And the Yoruba man will say, look, you are poor man, go. It happened. Thieves and Fulani, that's how they are. If a Fulani sees a thief in the midst of this thing, the Fulani can bring him to his hand and say, okay, sleep inside. You're afraid of hyena, this is bush, it's not town. And that is how it has been. And what was the reason why we got that? There was a lot of war between tribes, but over the time, they realized that they have to maintain peace. And the two enemies now become brothers and playmates, and peace was maintained and sustained. So even there is no, even in particular state, you find two different tribes or sub-tribes playing with each other. Now it also says that when you move from primary 4 to at that level, English should now be at 0 to 3 to up to 3 years, English should also be taught as a subject, not as a mode of communication. Now, from 4, when you finish your primary school, now take English as what? As a mode of communication. And then it says now you introduce 2 languages, French and Arabic, as a subject, because the national policy integrated you locally, and it also wants to integrate you to your local neighbors. French-speaking countries are all our boundaries, this thing. And if you go to Chad, some of them also speak Arabic. So these are the policy. And this is what we said, okay, can we revive that policy so that it can be more effective, promote cohesion, promote understanding, and promote whatever have you in Africa, in Nigeria and in Africa at large. So, but nevertheless, just as we all know, the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is so democratic enough and listening. We all know the outcry when the Student Loan Fund Act was passed initially, that it was so restrictive, nobody. And Mr. President quickly listened to Nigerians and then sent an amendment, repeal even an amendment. And that came with what is acceptable to all Nigerians. Just some few days we are at National Assembly, some of the media here are also here. We have agreed that yes, we are going to consider it as a work in progress so that National Assembly are working, we are also working. But before we go for National Council on Education, we will reach a stand that will be ratified by the Council, which will take all the considerations of average Nigerian. But it was shocking to say that a university in Nigeria gave admission to children at age of 10. Yes, at age of 10. They got admission at age of 10, at age of 11, at age of 12. These are some child, But we are also not saying that there are no exceptions. We know that we can have talented students that can have an IQ of an adult even at the age of 6, age of 7. But these are very, very few. Such there must be a room. And the ministry is looking at developing a guidelines on how to identify and label a child as talented so that we can have that exception so that parents cannot say that we have blocked chance for everybody. So I want to urge the general public and average Nigerians to know that this is a work in progress, but nobody says that no child will write the WAEC, NECO, or any other examinations in the country until he is at the age of 18. I hope this will clear the misconception and misinterpretation of what we have said. Now, are we making progress? Yes. Definitely yes. No, I'm asking, I'm trying to answer a question. Somebody said, are we making a progress as far as literacy this is concerned? Well, before I answered, a lot of people said yes. And it's quite true, it's yes. If you look at the literacy rate in Nigeria, in the 70s, and the literacy rate at this age, you know that we have made a lot of progress, whether we want it or we want it. In fact, national average of literacy rate is almost around 67%. And now if you go it, you now disaggregated the value to regional level, you find that there are states that have reached even global level. Take Imo State, for example. Literacy level in Imo State is around 93%. And even at level of UNESCO, I think that is a global standard. So, this thing. But also, there are other this thing. When you come down to the northern part of the country, states like Yobe may have around 30%. So you understand? So, and generally, you say that when you take the average Nigerian literacy rate, it's above 50%. You can take by any standard. You can Google and see. That's the average. But we are not saying we don't have problems. We have a lot of problems. And these are problems. It is skewed. Our literacy rate is not respecting normal curve, with so many of the areas skewed towards lower literacy rate. And then there is marked variation between south and north, and also among male and female. So these are all our indices that we have to also, the essence of using this data is see where we can pay more attention so that we can move at the global level.